Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine Live. I'm Catherine, and it's time to work on my Serene Waters Fast Fab album. I am determined to get the rest of the pages done with layouts ready for my photos, and I'm going to be working on it most of the afternoon here. So I will be on for a while, or I'm planning on being on for a while anyways. I hope y'all are going to enjoy seeing what I put together. Let me go ahead and get things switched over. Here we go. Okay, so here it is. Here is the Serene Waters Fast Fab refill. I've actually checked boxes on two of the ones that I've already done. And those, I believe both of them were live streamed on my channel. I think maybe not. One I think was a video and one was a live stream. Anyways, you can search using the search bar to find these two, or I will see if I can link them in the description box after I'm done here today. Otherwise, we have, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 14 that I will be doing. Actually, 15 if you want to count. That's the front and the back of the album. So a lot to get done this afternoon. And if you're new, thank you so much for joining me. Please hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate each and every one of you that are already subscribers. I usually forget to say about subscribing, but please do so, or hit the thumbs up if you see something that you like. I will be taking questions in between each layout. So let me get this first one going. I am basing many of these layouts on my 101. I don't know why I have trouble remembering the name of this book. It's the sketchbook that came out from Creative Memories. It's 101 sketches and challenge layouts. I'm taking on the challenge to do all 101 of these this year. And so all of the bottom here is marked with ones that I will be working on today. I have a couple that I've done twice, and I have one that is just one of mine. So 43 is the page we're starting on. I'm going to adjust the lighting real quick. So if you want a screenshot, you can see what mat sizes I'm going to be using. And this is going to be our beginning of our album. I have punched with both my double rickrack chain and double fan chain border maker cartridges for this layout, because that's one of the things that the sketches kind of led me towards. I mean, I know we do kind of have this little corner a bit, and in the photo I will show you again in a little bit that it does kind of have a little bit of decoration on there, but just thought it needed a little bit more, especially for a cover page here. And I think I just did that one upside down, so we're just going to go with it. I am using, well, it's going to be hard to see which paper I'm using for the rickrack chain. It's the one that has stripes through it and a blue and green multicolor on the back. And now that I've just used the multicolor on the front, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll hold it up real quick to see if you all can see the pattern there. There's the stripes on the back. And I'm just layering these along the bottom. This is the double rickrack chain that I punched with my border maker system. And then I took and I punched some of our vellum with the double fan the double fan chain. And so I'm going to grab out my vellum tape runner so that way this will stick down nicely for me. Always comes out a little bit different from the other two tape runners. So we're going to put one right above our rickrack here. And this is just the vellum that kind of looks almost like the water scene. Let me grab out my foam folder so I can burnish this real quick and make sure that we don't see any of the tape through our vellum. And then I'm going to put one more fan going along the side as well. Okay, here we go. And now let's go ahead and burnish this one as well, because nobody wants to see all that extra tape anywhere. That's why we use our bone folder to help get that down better. And instead of using smaller mats, I'm using one larger mat on this page. This is a 7 by 9 inch piece of paper. It has the yellow watercolor look on the back side of it and kind of our swirly blue waves on the inside of it, or the side we're going to place up here. I'm just eyeballing it roughly where the center would be, kind of roughly from the corner here. And now I'm going to add our beach life and our kayak here. I do want to mention that I do have more than one sticker pack for this collection and more than one embellishment pack. So you might see some similar embellishments or stickers more than once throughout these layouts. Let's see which direction I want to put this. I was about going in this way. Just layering those two together in a small cluster. And now for the bottom, I have this other embellishment from our embellishment pack going into the corner here. I want to completely cover up the wave. Hang on, let's see. This is why I took photos. Give me just a moment here to look it up real quick. Okay, yep, we're going right into the corner with this one. It's one of those things when putting together this many layouts, I couldn't remember exactly what I was doing for all of them. Even with my notes, I made sure I took pictures so I would be able to put them together the way I wanted in my initial design process here. So I have two small seashell stickers as well that I'm sticking to the two corners there. And here you go. Our cover page for our Fast to Fab album is done. I hope you all like that one. Now let's get into our first 2-page layout here. And this one is one where I am going to be using up a lot of scraps. When I was designing the layouts, I worked from the back to the front, except for I did the cover first. And then I went to realize that I need to stack these up somehow. So I should probably work back to front. This one I did layer a little bit more. So what I did was I actually had a whole lot of scraps from a sunburst layout I had done. And if you're interested in learning how to do the sunburst layout, if you've never done it, please just leave me a comment. Let me know. I can add a virtual event to my calendar. I just really enjoy teaching these things, but I wound up with a lot of odd scraps from it. And so, oops, I'm dropping my little bubbles here that I was going to add as an embellishment. I have a couple of photo mats. Let me make sure I'm not, yes, I am missing one more here. So this one I'm going to actually be picking things up. I'm just taping them down because it's a little trickier than with some of the others. Let me make sure. I think this other piece goes on my next page. It does here. Okay, so this one's mostly together. It's just a matter of sticking things down, and then I have two 4x6 photo mats that are going to go on here as well. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and set this right side aside. I'll work on the left side and then the right side, kind of how I usually do most of my videos. And then I will show you the completed layout at the end, closer to the camera together. But we're going to start just by layering a couple of our triangles here. When you do the sunburst layout, you get a whole bunch of triangles, and when you're putting them together, and it makes a gorgeous layout, but you do wind up with some different shaped scraps. And I love giving ideas of how to use some of these. And it just so happened that I had taught this one with Serene Waters back when we still lived in New Mexico. And I thought, you know, let me use up some of this in my album, because this will give, if they still have some of their scraps, I don't know how I still have some of mine for so long, but I do. So going ahead and getting this put together. Scoot that over just a little bit. I'm going to move my embellishments here, and you can see it all just kind of works well together. I'm using just a little bit of my repositionable tape on the corners for these triangles, and then just some of my regular tape runner inside. There we go. But this kind of becomes a fun geometric layout overall. Just needs to go this way. And seeing as the base of this one is more, it doesn't really have the borders the way some of the other ones have the pre-printed borders on them. Just made sense to go ahead and do something a little different. And I could not find a layout with a lot of triangles in my sketchbook. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for it and do one of my own. I will also say that from the book, I did pick all layouts that were 2 to 3 photos, because a lot of times I like to add more photos and give you ideas for that as well. And that way it's hard. That's most of the book is 2 to 3, it seems like. So, okay, we're going to have this other kayak coming in from here over this a little bit. We're going to have our by the lake sign. The kayak is a sticker. By the lake is an embellishment, and I have run out of tape here, so let me grab a refill. Get that changed out. All right. Here we go. Here's our by the lake. And then I have a couple of just grasses here that I wanted to add from our sticker pack as well. And I just thought that these colors just really worked with both sides of the layout. Here we go. We're adding a few bubbles through the center here, and this is the right side of our page done already. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and I will move on. Oops, and I forgot to put my mats. So let me get my photo mats down, and then I'll answer any questions if there are any, and then I'll go ahead and move on to the right side of the page for this layout. All right, so these are going to go in just a moment up here. I kind of liked the fish in the 2 corners here. I thought that was a little bit fun and works with placing my photo mats here. Now, you can also put a third photo here through the middle as well. You can not have your bubbles up here, move your bubbles down and place another photo up here. You can choose not to add to this bottom corner and put a photo here. So there are options of where to add more photos as well. Okay, now the left side is done, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the right side here. And we'll start placing things down on this side as well. pretty much kind of like how I did with this other side. Just start at one end and we'll get rolling with it. I used a variety of papers, and like I said, it was just where I still had some larger scraps and thought, this is a great opportunity to use these. This base page is not as, I mean, it has the color gradient, but it's not as designed as some of our other pages later in this album. Here we go. And overall, I just really appreciated the opportunity to use up some scraps. It's always a nice thing when we can do that. I'm going to layer this fish on top of this one as well, kind of like what we did in our top right corner, or top left corner, I'm sorry. Bottom right, top left. Have our fish layered onto our other larger triangles. Keep wanting to use my taper and they're upside down for some reason. Just lining up with the bottom edge of our paper here. There we go. Let's get this other odd one in here. And now we have two more, like I said, just larger squares that I had from when I did the layout. This one I think actually was one I did from later in this book, actually. I wound up with this with the little seagrass on the back side of that page. And this one's going to overlap this one just a little bit here, coming across our page. And now let me get down my bubbles so I can get my photo mats placed on this one as well. Remember to grab the correct tape runner. So I just liked the idea of running these little bubbles through the page. It kind of adds a little motion to our page and gives a little extra continuity as well as with the colors that are running through both pages. Here we go. This is from our embellishment pack. And here are my two mats. And this one I did use the seagrass on. It's the one that has the sunset on the back side of the page. Okay. And so this is going more over here, kind of in between these four papers. And then this one's going to come down a little bit over this way. All right, so there's our two photo mats. I'm going to add the paddle out because we put the kayak onto the other side of our page, and our little dragonfly from our sticker set to create a little cluster in this corner as well, kind of like what we have on the bottom side of our other page. All right, so here is the right side of our layout. Does anybody have any questions about this two-page layout? If not, I'll go ahead and move on. Move my tape runners out of the way. So here are these two pages side by side. And I'll do a flip through at the end as well, but it kind of, this one definitely gives a really interesting look because you can definitely see some of the under design paper from behind it. All right, flipping this one over here, we are going to move on. Definitely want to keep things rolling here. Okay. I'll figure out a system for my cards here. This one is page 57 from our book. So let me go ahead and show you that real quick as well. Okay, take this one off of here, 57. All right, so here is page 57. Let me reduce the light so that way if you want to get a screenshot of the mats I've used for this one, you can. There you go. And this one does have quite a few scraps I used as well for this piece running through the page. I didn't cut the small squares. I did let the paper do the work, which is one of the things that I like to do from time to time. I have one of our laser cut borders. I'm going to use the lighter side of this one over here. These are the papers I was saying that I cut or just had the scrap, and I'm layering some of these. This is 1.25 inches by 12, and this one was 1.25 inches by 9. Actually, I think that was actually an inch. I'm sorry. Wrote down the wrong amount because it's obviously inside of the other one. There, I have a 2-inch square, and I have several mats. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and move my right side out of the way so we can start on this left side right away. Just to keep things moving along here because we do have a lot to accomplish. I did use the mermaid paper or the netting and the seagrass again for my mats. All of my mats are 4x6 for this 2-page layout, and there are going to be 8 of those. So let's go ahead and get our laser cut border down first, just right along the edge of the page here. I'm going to go ahead and get my 1.25 by 12-inch piece down first, going through the page. And again, like I said, instead of having those little boxes, I decided to pull the paper that has the small boxes on it already, so that way I didn't have to cut a million little boxes for this one. And it's the one that has the water look on the back side of it. And we're just going to center this through the middle, following the angle, and it just adds some little extra, because this was mostly orange and green, and this adds some of the blues as well. So I must have cut the paper a slightly different way for that one. Okay, so here come in our mats, and I have 4 of these coming through, and then our, what size are you? A 2-inch square is going to go in the center with our seashell. So let's get these flipped over and put tape across everything here. Like I said, I'm really trying to keep things moving along because we have a lot to accomplish this afternoon. Okay. And for this one, we are covering up some of those squares, but we are leaving the center open a bit as well. And there's about 1/8 of an inch on the side of the page there. Here goes my 2-inch square into the center here. And then I have a seashell that has some lighter orange to it. I'm going to pop that one up on one of my foam squares here, just to give it a little extra depth and dimension to the page. So the left side of this page is now done. And if you all have any questions, like I said, just go ahead and pop them into the chat. and I will be happy to answer otherwise. Y'all are being a quiet group. I thank you for watching, and we'll keep going here. So I have a different laser cut border for the opposite side of my page here. This one, it has the orange on one side and the lighter blue on the side we're going to be using. There's that. Take off my mats that will get placed down here coming up. Okay, I had a different size scrap for this side, and this one is 6.5 inches by 1 1/4, and then the interior one is 1/2 inch by 6.5. So I have 2 of them that are 1 1/4 by 6.5, and then I have one that I'm going to layer on that's 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 6.5. I'm sorry. Keep wanting to tell you the wrong size on that one for some reason. I think because I'm trying to get these placed and talk at the same time, and I just need to focus on one thing at a time here, I guess. All right. So this is our 1/2 inch strip that's going to bridge through these two, and not to worry because our 2 inch piece should cover up this center opening. Let me get my photo up here again. Just make sure I get my mats put on the way I want them to. This is going to be roughly in the center. Remember I said I had 2 sheets of sticker set, so I'm using the same sticker on both sides of the page. This one's going down here. And going around here, this is here. Dark towards the top and orange towards the outside. Flip everything over and we'll get it placed down on our layout. Okay, starting at this top left corner, I'm giving it about that 1/8 of an inch again from the edges. This one I'm going to cover up that corner from our paper that's going through our page here. Bringing this one up from the bottom here and top right. Well, no, I didn't actually get that one covered up, did I? I should have probably pushed those two together. So let me do that real quick. I'm going to it's always nice to make sure it looks nice when you're doing these things. So I am going to go ahead and grab my multi-purpose tool, and I'm just going to run this under both of these pieces so I can link these together. That's okay. You know what? This has the part of the green squares on this end also, and I think that's where I was gonna put them together, and I just didn't. There we go. So we're not going to have any more gap. And let's see if I can get a little bit of the adhesive off my multi-purpose tool there. Okay, placing my mat back down. And now here we go. This one's going in the center here. And finally, we'll add a foam square to our sticker here. Okay. Here we go. So now the right side of this layout is done already. Okay. Put these both together so that way you can see them side by side, and I'll bring back in the sketch here. There we go. You can see the motion through the page, our borders. And so essentially I did kind of take our sketch and turn it a little bit. Since we had our Fast to Fab borders running along each side of the page, but I did work with this angle that was created with the strip as well, and then used up one of our smaller pieces in the middle. Okay, if there's no questions on that one, I will go ahead and continue on. If you have any questions later, you can always leave them in the comments, and I will be checking those. Coming in with our next layout here, we are going to be working from, let me get these things off of here first, because this is all going to be for our left side of our page, page 60. And I am using page 60 twice. This one is part 2. So we're going to look for the mats that say number 2 layout on it, and that's what we're going to work off of here. Go ahead and reduce my lighting again in case you all would like to get a screenshot of my layout here. There we go. And it's from this section up here is where I'm going to be working from today. All right, here we go. Let's see here. I know this was going to go up here. I did get one of our rolling sails borders that I used the green wavier paper that has the yellow fish on the back side of it. That's going to be going across our page. I've cut a few mats. I've got a sticker here. And let's go ahead and start sticking a few things down, and then I'll get the right side going next. I think I've got all my pieces at least that are going to go onto this page first. So this piece here is a 1.5 inch by 10.5 inch piece. I'm pretty sure I cut some photo mats or something, and that's how I created this strip. But it just so happened that the way I had the paper turned, it worked out perfectly for the side of this page. And then I'm going to add in my border across the bottom here. All right. So I'm just kind of trying to line it up with the edge of the top of the water here, or so our kind of our blue water is going into green a little bit. And then I have our seagrass, our net, and so I've got 2 seagrass. These are all 4x6 mats. I'm going to flip them over. And this is the one that has the sunshine on the back of it, and this one has kind of a brushed watercolor look to it. And I want to place my 2 seagrass mats first. So it's going to be about 1/8 of an inch down from the top of the page, but up against the edge of the page there. And this one is going to go in this bottom corner, but I do want to see my first boat here. There we go. Let me adjust a couple of things real quick here. Okay. All right. I needed to just make a quick adjustment to where I have my photos on my phone. So this one is going over the edging of our other 2 photos just a little bit. And actually, I think We can either place this one down, which I think is what I'm going to do, but you can also put it on to our foam tape. So this way you would pop up your photo mat just the way you would any of our other embellishments, but that way it makes it easier also for you to slide your photo under. Right now, the way I usually do tape things, I can easily get my photo underneath these sides here. So we're going to add our sun sticker to the top left corner here, and I'm going to use a foam square on this one as well. I think I'm going to use 2 of our smaller ones just to make sure both ends of this sticker are up here, and place this up here by our other clouds and our birds. And then our fish and our lure are going to go into our water. If I can actually get them picked up here, goodness gracious, they were being difficult. So one fish heading this way in our water, the other one heading that way, and we will place our lure kind of up here. It's a little bit big for our boats maybe, but we'll have it hanging down this way. And now the left side of this one is complete. How's about that? All right, let's go ahead and work on the right side. And you can kind of see where we're going as I bring this in. We have another larger mat, and I actually have, this one is a 3 3/4 by 5 3/4 mat. So it's a little bit smaller. This is a 4 by 6 with the same netting that has that watercolor effect on the back. And this one is one of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats from our mat pack. It's the one that has the seagrass on the back of it. We're going to add another one of our laser cut borders. This one is the ocean waves. Going through our bottom of our page here. So on one side we have our boats, and on this side we have our boats heading into a little bit of a choppier surf. Okay, let me flip over my 3 mats and we'll get these placed down as well. And this one is going into our bottom right here. Again, along the edge of the page, just like how we did with our border on the opposite side of the page. This one's going to be up at the top left. And then our 4.5 by 6.5 mat is going to be coming through the center again, just overlapping each one of our other mats just a little bit. I grabbed our fresh fish sticker from our sticker pack to go along with kind of our other fish a little bit, and our gone fishing here is going to be popped up at the top as well with some of our smaller foam squares here. Oops. If I can get my finger to stop sticking, there we go. And let's go ahead and take the backs off of these. So just towards this top right here. Okay, well, that is the right side, and I will check again for questions. So far, so good. I guess I must be explaining things pretty well. Thank y'all for hanging in here with me. I'll bring in the left side of the page. It's amazing how long it takes me to design these and then how quickly they all go together once I'm filming it. So we're moving right along. You can see where we have this repeating kind of border, if you will, but this is a photo mat. And you can easily add another smaller photo here and here. You can also add another photo up here or plug in a small journal box as well if you just cut a little bit off of one of your index sheets. I'm going to bring back in our inspiration sketch again. And basically I pulled in the idea of using the borders and the angular of the mats as well. You can see this kind of matches what we have here on the side. And like I said, instead of cutting a whole lot, we're just letting the paper do the work for us a bit. There we go. All right, let's move right along into the next layout here. Let's see which page we'll be working from next. Oh, yes. All right, this one is definitely a little bit trickier, and I'm also using the vellum again. Okay, these are my mats for at the top, and I need to pull out page 44 from my book so that way y'all can see where we're going here. Let me move this right sheet over to the side here. I'm going to start on the left side, page 44. Okay. All right, so here is page 44. Let me do this again so that way y'all can get a quick screenshot if you would like of what I'll be doing for this page. And now we are going to be, like I said, working with vellum and with the net looking paper, almost like the mermaid look paper, if you will. So what I did was I actually, on both sides, so I cut a rectangle. I cut it 5 inches by 12 inches. And then I took it on my 12-inch trimmer and I cut one this direction and one this direction on my trimmer. And then that way it worked out so that way both sides of the layout got a piece of triangle coming down, if you will. It's kind of hard to explain that. If you need a short for me to explain that one, please let me know. It was definitely tricky. You do have to do that extra turn on the trimmer and just make sure that, I wanted to use the same paper for both sides, but if you like both sides of your paper and you want to make each side a little bit different, you can absolutely do it that way as well, because you do have to flip things and turn them a little bit. It's one of those things where just by looking at a sketch, you don't necessarily get that. And then for my piece of vellum, I have a 7-inch piece. It says 6 by 12, but I'm measuring out here 3.5 inches on each side to center this. So it looks like I have a 7-inch piece of vellum. I must have written the wrong number down. I apologize. This is one of those things where I was working late at night. I'm finishing up a lot of these in between the virtual sketches, so I missed an occasional detail. I guess that's maybe part of it. That's why I say please ask questions if you have any questions. Hopefully I will notice it as I go along to put these together. So I'm just taking my bone folder real quick and going over where the tape is on my vellum. I'm using my vellum tape runner so that way you don't see the tape as much through the vellum. You can kind of see here where it just looks clear, and you can see that net effect that the vellum has over our orange watercolor background on our page here. I'm going to go ahead and get my triangles going down next on either side of my vellum, using a little bit of both of my tape runners here. And here we go. So you definitely want your, it kind of was almost like a curtain or like a Christmas tree a little bit. I did adjust the measurements a little bit from the layout because I wanted mine to overlap just a little bit differently. And I also wanted to add a third larger picture as well. So this one is one of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats, I believe. Hang on, I've got to change over my, here we go, yes. And it does also have that net print on it. And then I have two of our darker blue and green pieces, and those are 4.25 by 6.25. Flip everything over here to get some tape on. We are going to have the dark side up. I double check my photo just to make sure on that one also, because orange actually looks interesting now that I have everything flipped over again. But I want to center this again. Let me pull out my zero centering ruler again real quick here, line it up, and I should be right at the 3.25. Yes. Okay, there we go. So that one is going to come down, but I just want to make sure I'm lined up reasonably centered, and then these two can go off of either side. And I probably could do this with my ruler as well, but I am going to eyeball it this time with about 1 inch in between the two mats here. There we go. Okay. So we have 3 mats on to this side. Oops, and I'm losing my ruler there. And I believe that's it for that side of the page. Looks like all my embellishment is on the other side because I think it's just such a different design that you kind of want your colors and other to show through. You could easily add, cut an extra triangle and make that into your journal boxes here on the sides as well. The sketch doesn't really have a journal box on it, but I always like to give you all extra options, and I also have a mat that could be used as a journal box on this side. So put my ruler away too soon. Let's go ahead. We have the same 4.25 by 6.25 mats there. I'll show you my other mat from our mat pack in just a moment. Let me get the vellum on, or vellum paper on here again. And get this down and centered here again. Let's see, and this is the same one, so that's why I think I did. See, now this one looks like it is closer to 6 inches. That's interesting. Either my piece of vellum was ever so slightly off on the other side, or I had just a unusually large piece of vellum somehow. But that's okay since it's going behind the other pieces anyways. This is the one with the net on it as well. So I knew I only had one piece of this netted vellum, and I thought this would be short on this side, but it's not. So I don't know. It's okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get our sides put on again, just against the edges of our page. This one was the other half of that, the other two 5 by 12 rectangle that I took and cut in half, and I wanted to use, like I said, it worked out nicely because I was able to mix and match the pieces between the two sides of the layout. Now, 6.25 by 4.25 for my two photo mats for the bottom part of our layout. And then we have our 4.5 by 6.5 mat. And this one has the seagrass on the back side of it, but on the front side, It's the greenish background, but it also has lines. So if you do want to use this one for a journal box, you can. Line this up at 3 1/4 as well, coming down just a little bit again. It's about a ½ inch or so. And then I will be getting the other two mats placed down on our page here with about an inch in between. All right, that looks pretty good. We're going to grab our Make a Splash. Okay, I'm running out of space on my table here. Our Make a Splash sticker. I'm going to go ahead and put some foam squares underneath this one. We'll do one of our larger ones here and a slightly smaller one for the top of this layout, or the top of our little journal box here, if you will. Journal box photo mat, it's okay. Even with our sticker, since it's popped up, you can still fit your 4x6 photo on there. So here's the right side of our page. And if you have any questions, just pop it in. Thank you so much for joining me, Becky. I appreciate your saying hi. Okay, so there is our 2-page layout for this one based on page 44 in our sketchbook. So you can see with that, they have a larger embellishment portion up here, and I just wanted to opt to add in a larger photo, and then I just turned my photos the opposite way to be able to fit this other one at the top as well. So any questions can be put in the comments, and I will keep checking in between pages here, but we're going to keep it moving on. Let's get into our next page. Just need to pull out this next one here. Trying to keep myself organized as I go along here. All right, page 29 is next, and I wrote a note for myself. Oh, okay, I did use page 29 twice as well. So this one, I believe, is the second one because I did work backwards, like I said earlier, starting from the back end of the book going forward because I needed to get these stacked up so I could get myself organized here to be ready for this live stream. So let me adjust the light again in case anybody wants a quick screenshot of what's going to be happening on this one. I have this one over here. Nope, it's this one. Sorry, it's number 1 because we have our Canoe Wave chain borders. And I use a scrap for those borders. That was about 10 inches. So sorry about that. Okay, we have 6 4x6. So let me hold that a little closer for that one and adjust my light again, and we'll get rolling with this one. Change my photo so I know where I'm going with this. And move those out of the way, move my birds out of the way. Here we go. You can see I just was working off of a scrap when I did my punching of my Canoe Wave chain border maker cartridge. It just is one of those things. In fact, you can see it's got those squares on the back of it that we used on that other layout, the other scrap as well. And I just love being able to use up some of these scraps because we created plenty in putting this album together. And I still, believe it or not, have not used up all my Serene Waters paper that I had. And I actually even might have an extra sticker set that can go into my spring sale. For all 6 of my mats, I am using the seagrass paper. The backside is the one with the kind of watercolor sunset on it. And let's go ahead and get tape runner on these. Oh, okay. Did something funny with my tape runner. Here we go. Just had to If your tape runner ever gets stuck like that, just turn the wheel and it should get things moving again. I think I just hadn't twisted to the side when I went to disengage it, which I think we tend to subconsciously do sometimes. All right, so we have two coming in sideways here. One directly with the edge of the paper, and one up kind of in our sky a little bit. But then we're using this other mat to strategically cover up where we had that half canoe. So it works out perfectly because you still have 4 really nice looking canoes going across your page. You just don't have to show that half one that's kind of broken off along the way. I'm going to move this down just a hair so we can still see some of our seabirds going across our page. And then I'm going to add in these other 2 bird stickers that I found in our Serene Waters stickers. Here we go. All right. So we're just going to add these up here to these other birds just to give them a little extra definition and a little more motion to our page. Now, you can add a smaller journal box here, or you can journal directly on this page because it's light enough to be able to do that. But you can also add an extra photo here if you want as well. So I always try to give you all extra options of where to add other photos. Here is the left side of our page. And now I'm going to pull in the right side. And we're going to get rolling here as well. I have to remember these guys I want to add to my page also. So I have the other 10-inch Canoe Wave border here with the multicolor boxes on the back side of it. And honestly, I cut from the bottom side of my border maker both times. And if I had really been thinking about it, I guess maybe I would have done ones from the top and ones from the bottom, so that way they could have been coming in from the opposite side of the pages. But even with a scrap, I don't want to be wasteful. So, you know, they match. What can I say? We're going to have it going in the same direction, and we've got more seagrass mats to go through the top part of our page as well. So I guess I tend to be frugal. I guess that's the more proper way of saying it, right? Okay, and I think I did cut these so I would have seagrass going up and in the correct direction. So by that I mean this page is kind of directional. You can see where there's a little stem at the end of the seagrass. Oops, let's see if I can get my, there we go. So with this one I cut so that way it would be rolling up through the page, and with this one I cut so that way it also would be flowing up through the page. So all my grasses are going in this upward motion through the page. And I'll hold it a little closer so that way you can see what I mean by that. They're all flowing towards the top of the page. And now I have the last of my enameled embellishments. I'm actually going to bring in the left side of the page because I thought, you know, maybe occasionally on the ocean you do get some rain from time to time. I don't know if I'd want to be in a canoe when that happens, but this was kind of the last of these. The rest of them you'll see on some of my later layouts. I can get this open. Here, I'm just gonna do this. Somehow I have one. Oh, it's stuck to the outside. No wonder. Let's just go ahead and get that one placed on there right away. And like I said, I did have 2 packs of these embellishments. So we're going to go ahead and add our raindrops, I guess, or water droplets through our page. I'm not going to put them on this part of the page because, like I said, I think that's where the journaling really makes sense to go. So we're just going to run these through the rest of the page. And I don't know if we should put some drops maybe in the bottom too here, but let me finish some of this over here. And maybe we can add a couple to our water even. They're different colors. These are really beautiful embellishments here. I don't know. The designers usually do such a nice job, and it's amazing their attention to detail that they add to all of our collections. I'm just going to run some of these up through this water here now. I don't know which way to. We've got different colors going different directions in different ways. I feel like I need to. There we go. Put this one here and this one here, and voila. Okay. Does it look like a colorful rainfall? Kind of going through the page, maybe a little bit. Again, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to put them in the box. If not, it's okay. I'll keep moving on, and I'll show you the sketch one more time after I hold the pages up for you, and you can see just where those little scattered water droplets got placed on my page. And here is our sketch again that I started with. It's kind of based on, and you can see there's a lot of little things going on the bottom of this page here. And this one does have something else different on the top. So I thought, you know, with the birds at the top, and now we have some water too, the water in the canoes, I thought, you know, it just seems to work. So here we go. Next page. I've got to leave my book here a minute so I can find out what page we're going to be working with from next, because I don't know anybody that could actually remember these in order. I guess you never know. Maybe somebody could. I am not that person, though. Okay, here we go. It looks like we have a little more vellum coming. Let me find my card so I can see what page we're going to be working from here. This is all probably for this side of the page. I did try to have some method to what I was doing here. Page 7. Okay, let's find page 7 and see where we're going with this. So I tried to put a clip in my book so I would just stick to these 2 and 3 photo pages, since it's almost, it seems like it's almost half of our book is the 2 and 3 pages, and then there were some I'd already done both pages of. So I thought, okay, let me really challenge myself to try to get some more of these smaller photo layouts done. And that's what I did with this. All right, so it looks like we have this sketch here. Let me mute it again so that way y'all can see where we're going with the mats and the vellum. Take this off of here. Looks like we are going to have 6 4x6 mats and 2 3x12-inch strips of vellum. Okay. I did also add a couple more of our laser cut borders to this one as well. And feeling pretty good. Can't believe it's already been an hour that I've been live streaming this so far. Okay. Vellum is going on my sides here, I believe. Yes. Okay, so vellum's going to go underneath the turtle just a little. We have our 4x6 mats. Oops, I've got an embellishment here, and I've got a sticker here, and I've got, okay. So the mats I'm using for this one, let me move this off to the side so we can actually see what we're working on here easier. I have the striped paper here for 2 of them. It has this multicolored blues and greens on the back side of it. One more of the seagrass. Can you tell I had a lot of the seagrass paper somehow? I think it must have been left over to some degree from when I did my that sunburst class. So, and then we've got the sea turtles, and there is an orange side, but I just really liked the blue side with the way these pages came together. So let me get some tape runner going first on our sea turtles here. Actually, I probably should get the vellum down first, shouldn't I? Let me Yes. Okay. It's usually I don't have that extra photo to work off of, so this is really kind of novel for me, but I'm trying to get so many layouts in one session here that I thought I'd better take some photos. And so this is the vellum that has the more heavier water look to it, as you can see. And I'm just going to go kind of halfway. So it's like a half and half here in between the border line here that's already pre-printed on the page. I'm going to grab my bone folder. To help that tape burner disappear, and I'll show you again. It just really does help that vellum tape burner to disappear, and you really just kind of becomes more translucent. Well, hi, Jean. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for saying hi. Let me know if you have any questions as we go along through this. I'm going to add my sea turtle going along the left side of the page. And let's go ahead and get some tape on these as well. And where are we doing? These are going to be going across from here. So we're going to have 2 on the right side and 1 through the middle. Okay. This needs to go up. Oops. Okay, here we go. This is going to be at the top of the page, because with them all being the 4x6 mats, we need to have this at the top and the bottom, so that way we have enough space for our other one, or else we're going to be overlapping a little bit, kind of like we did on our other layout. But I didn't necessarily want that for this one. Seagrass, I don't know why. I like the stems of the seagrass coming down kind of like you would a regular flower or something. I don't know. I know that's me being particular, but you know, we all have our quirks, and that's one of mine. We have an embellishment that has this beautiful sea green tone to it and a little bit of white in the center of it, but I just thought it worked both with our coloring on our page, but also with our sketch, because our sketch has something similar, and I'll show you. I also found this little sea turtle that was also a blue sticker that matches our little blue sea turtles on the side. And I'm going to add a small foam square to it so that it won't interfere with anything over here. Our little sea turtle, actually, maybe he'll have a little motion to him going towards the other sea turtles. Maybe he got left behind. Okay, this actually goes on my other side of the page. I was wondering about that. So here is our close-up of this page. And again, you can journal directly on this side of the page, or you can add some smaller photos as well. I actually think we have, yeah, we actually have a full 4 inches here, so you could easily have a 4x4 photo in either one of these places. And you can add your journaling on the other side. You can add a little journaling here, through here, and around. You can even write on the vellum. I know I showed that in one of my other layouts as well, but I wanted to show you real quick the embellishment on our sketch. That kind of inspired me to do this one here. I don't always follow the sketches, but sometimes, oh, you know what? There is a, well, that's interesting. I'm going to have to figure this one out because, oh no, it does go on this right side. Okay. It's a good thing yeah, I would hope if I actually looked at my photo. Okay. There we go then. That is going to go on this right side with this other boat and this other shells. I have a lot of shells for this one. And then I also have 2 more of our lined mats and 1 more with the seagrass, another piece of vellum, and our coral laser cut border. This one does have the orange on the back as well, but We are going to use the blue side of that one also. Grab my vellum tape runner again to get going with our 3" by 12" piece of this kind of water looking vellum. We're going to place it around the same spot where it's kind of going right through the middle here, just to add almost like an extra border, an extra little interest. I mean, that is something else that I did get from the sketch. And you can just use your finger for this. It's just, this is faster for me to do with the bone folder. The sketch does have that inspiration to, they actually had, I think, 3 borders layered. And I just thought, you know, we have the vellum with this collection. Why not use it? I mean, that's what it's there for. And I don't use vellum a whole lot. Or I guess I just don't always think to use the vellum, because I think it tends to be a little bit intimidating for some people. But honestly, it just adds a really nice accent to your page. You can use it under mats, over mats, and like I said, you can even write on it. So it creates a really cool effect for any journal box. You could stick a little piece of white paper behind it and have your vellum on top, or a neutral paper behind it. I don't know. There's a lot of options. There's always a lot of options. Okay, so our 4x6 mats, we're going to start again at the top here and the bottom this time. So this one I'm actually doing a similar layout to what we had on the opposite side of the page, except for instead of my single being towards the center, it's actually going towards our border. So get this in between those two and over a little bit there. Okay. My seagrass is growing up again. Okay, and now let's add our stickers. We've got the paddle out and the kayak are going to be in the bottom here. And I'm going to create a little bit of a cluster. Ah, that's where my other shells went. Okay, the shells go on the other side of the page. So we're going to put the paddle out right over our kayak sticker here. And this one's going to be going kind of through the center of where we placed our vellum, just offset a little bit. And we have a sailboat for the top. That's going to go with a couple of our shell stickers as well. Oops. So we have kind of a really brighter aqua-y blue and almost the sea green color shells kind of near our boat over here. I'm going to just kind of put them closer to our reef a bit with the, I guess if they were, you know, if these are the kind of shells that snails live in, the snail would be coming out from the bottom, if that helps. I mean, we used to have conch shells over on some of the beaches in Florida, and so I guess I associate a little bit with that too. But this is the right side of the page. I'm going to go back and add these other 2 extra shell stickers I've taken out to go with my sea turtle on the left side here, but I'm going to put these 2 pages together so you all can see them together. And again, you can put another larger photo in this section here. Journaling can easily go here and even over the vellum as well. So how's about that? What does everybody think? Are we doing pretty well with the Serene Waters so far? Hopefully everybody's enjoyed seeing the different layouts here. And I just dropped my sticker, so I've got to get that one up. There we go. I'm going to kind of put these going back to back, I guess, over here by my little box. Put that back over there. And here's the new cluster with the turtle and the 2 shells. All right, here is our photo from our sketch again. And this one is done, but you can see what I was talking about with kind of this extra. They've got, I think, 2 different things showing here and a different paper over here. And I don't know, just there's usually a little bit more, but then they only have the 2 photos on this one, and I really wanted to get in the third and give you options for 3 more as well. So always trying to think about where we can go and where we can add more photos. Like I said, that's why I'm challenging myself in this 2 to 3 photo section with this album to really hopefully help inspire you all with some of your pages as well and show how easy it is to work with the Fast to Fab. Now, this next page is one that I had already done. Like I said, I had 2 pages that I've already done in this Fast to Fab album, which is partially why I wanted to get it finished up so I could include it in the spring sale, because I just don't have as many beach and water photos since we're not living in Florida anymore and just moved to Washington State from New Mexico and getting ready to go to Pennsylvania. So I don't know if I'll have that many. And I just thought, somebody has got to have gone to Hawaii or have some other beach photos. In fact, this is one that I did my journal box for the vellum. So if you look at my channel, I will definitely try to link these, but hard to see here. It's funny how great it looks normally, and then every once in a while I've got to block the light a little bit. There you go. So that's the vellum over the journal box there on that one. And like I said, I will do my best to get it linked after I'm done with this live stream. So now let's see where we're going with this next one. And after this one, I might need a quick water break. I think we've already done, I don't know how many we've already done. All right, this is the other page, 29. We've already done one of them. I will recognize the page number. At least I think I do. Yep. So this is the other one we had earlier, so inspired here. And so this is number 2 here. So the other one was the one with the canoe wave. And this one, you're going to see where we're going. I've got some different size mats and different borders. Hang on, I've got to adjust the light so that way you guys can see the writing again. It's one of those things where I'm writing in pencil in my book on purpose, and then I forget sometimes. I got to make sure to increase and decrease the light so that way y'all can see what's actually happening over here. There we go. It's nice that I can adjust it though. Okay, so here we go with this one. I've got one of our borders I've cut down, one that I've punched out. In fact, I can show you all. Let's see. Okay. This is the right side. That's going up over here. We're going to start on the left side here. And so this is where I also am making the paper do a little bit of the extra work as well for me. I don't know what it was about this paper with the boxes on it. It's just so colorful, and I don't know, it's almost a little retro-y 70s. I mean, I guess you could easily put the water through it, but I just thought the water in the sunset was kind of odd. But I liked the idea of placing this one through the center of the pages. This is a 3-inch by 12-inch piece. I went ahead and also cut 2 of our rolling sails border maker cartridge, and I cut these at, where did I cut this at? Let's see. You know what? I didn't actually write that one down, did I? Goodness gracious. I wrote down what I cut my vellum. I didn't write down what I cut my punch at. So let me just measure that real quick. Like I said, some of these I was doing kind of late at night. That's 1 1/4 inches from the top of the sails. So 1 1/4 inches on our boats. This vellum was a scrap because it's the one with the lines running through it. You saw it on that last layout. So I kind of had a scrap, I guess, of this as well. I did 1 1/2 inches by 7 3/4 inches on for both sides of our layout as well. And this is kind of just going to add a little bit of motion through this because it's kind of like a water at sunset. I thought it seemed like that's what, because we had a couple other pages in this collection that had the birds also at the top and the water at the bottom. So we're going to add in our half of our reef embellishment. I cut it in half because we're going to use the other half on the other side of the page. And then we also have some fish. So there's a lot of little parts to this one that are just kind of coming together, using up some scraps, and getting to put some of this together again. So my vellum is going to go at this bottom corner again. Like I said, it just adds a little extra motion to the page, especially with the print that's on this vellum. And then we're going to get our repositionable tape on our reef and our boats here. So our boats, I think, is going to go behind our reef. Yep. Excuse me. Just every time I think I'm over that sinus infection, it kind of creeps in on me again, and it probably doesn't help that we have every possible tree and flower blooming here right now, but it is what it is. I know that's what triggered the sinus infection in the first place. And I'm so glad at least to have most of my voice back. I thank you all for waiting the extra week to join me. And here we go. Let's get this going down here, kind of halfway through. We don't want our boats to look like they're going to get, knocked up on the reef per se, but it's kind of looking that way a little bit, isn't it? It's okay. It'll give an interesting story to tell, right? Maybe. With our photos, you never know. Your photos are still popping. People won't even notice. Maybe. And if not, it'll be an interesting story to tell. Okay. I pulled out two of our mats. Oh, there we go. I have 2 4x6 and 2 4.5 by 6.5. So this one has the seabirds on it. It's the lighter mat that happens to have the seabirds on it, with the blue waves on the back. And then this one has the oranges and yellows, kind of in an ombre, with the yellow and orange stripes across it, or waves, if you will. And goodness. Okay. There we go. I don't know, with the crochet, you always kind of lose hair a little bit. I crochet a lot in every project. I hate to say it, probably did have a piece of my hair in it, but I apparently lost a piece of hair in that tape runner there, so I did grab that real quick. I want the yellow going up towards the top of this one and the orange towards the bottom here, and I'm going to kind of center between these. It kind of works out nicely between a couple of the spaces here. So you'll see one full set of squares there. And then our birds are going to go through this other part here, again with one of our boxes on the right side, going up and through. And so now, again, you can journal down here on our page. You can easily add at least one more photo up here at the top as well. And I'm going to add 4 of our fish, because we're going to have 4 fish on each page. And I just thought this was kind of fun. I think I'm going to go darker over here, over to the lighter, because we have some dark coloring at the end over here. So to have the lighter fish might be a little bit better. Whoops, I need to skip one. Every other fish is going on here. Here we go. There we go. So these are also in our enameled embellishments. They are self-sticking. And there we go. Across the bottom of our page as well. So that is the left side of our page. Let me get the right side put together so I can show you them both together. Oops. And this is where our other 4 fish are going to wind up going. So this one again is going to be similar. This one I think follows maybe the photo layout on the sketch a little bit closer than my other one did. Okay. Looks like I'm going to have another tape runner to change out here soon. I just saw some red on our regular tape runner, but we'll address that in a minute when it comes to it. That's why I always have extra refills available when I'm live streaming. Hopefully I have enough. I think I only put 1 of each. We'll see. That might be when we're doing our 1-minute break too. So I can go grab those. Let's see, which end is this going on? This end. And I gotta get the vellum in first, don't I? Yes, I do. So we have another, what size was our vellum? 1.5 by 7 3/4 of an inch. Going down here along the bottom. I think I put my boats up a little bit too high. So those, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get those all up nicely, because I want it closer to the vellum like I did on the other side. I got distracted by the thought of my tape runner running out on me. And that happens. I know I have to burnish my tape a little bit here too. Okay, whoops, I'm sticking to that. I'm getting this other one taken care of. Here we go. The nicest thing about the repositionable tape is it gets tackier over time, but also if you have to move it, it's easy to move. And you can just use your finger to rub away anything extra. That's done. Okay. There's our other coral. And now here we go with our strip again. Yep, there we go. It didn't take that long, did it? Okay, here we go. Get that changed out. Make sure I don't have any excess on here. That's the other part when you change out your tape runners, is you definitely want to make sure every once in a while you do have to change your housing for your tape runners as well. But usually they last through several refills, that's for sure, which is really nice. Okay, this is the 3" by 12" going through here. Half of our coral, our vellum, our rolling sails, and now we have our 2 mats for this side. So this one is the 4x6 mat. It says the deeper the waters are, the more still they run, by, oh, it's a Korean proverb. Very interesting. And I just thought that worked nicely there. And then we had another mat that had this yellow to orange ombre. It has the netting on the back side of it. And this saying, the Korean proverb, can either be for a title for your page or a saying on your page, or you can just throw a photo right over it and have essentially a white mat in the background for your photo. Here we go. All right, now let's get our other fish on, and I think I'll have our fish swimming towards the other fish. So we'll have them facing this way. Our first fish were headed to the right, and now these fish are going to be heading to the left. How's about if I just flip the whole thing over here and maybe make it easier, so I don't have to actually turn them all the way around. I can just turn the holder. And there we go. That, as we say, is that. We are done with another layout. Put my multi-purpose tool up a minute, pull this back in. I'll hold this up first. That's the right side of our page. And the 2 pages together. And finally, let me get you the sketch again real quick here. There you go. So again, just a completely different interpretation, whereas the other one I did the partial canoe. I guess I did do a partial border again with this laser cut with the reef. Then we have just a little more of the vellums finishing to fill it in, and the boats. And then, like I said, you could easily journal underneath here and add an extra photo to the top of your page as well. So, okay, I am ready for a quick break. I'm going to leave this here a second. I'm going to leave this here a second before I pull out my next one, just because I want to make sure to grab a couple more tape runners. But I'm going to go ahead and put up my timer so that way you all will know I will put this screen back on as soon as I am back. Well, or it might switch automatically. This is my first time using the timer, so we'll see what happens. It's going to be the whole thing is an adventure. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, well, hey, that worked out perfectly. I was able to grab a quick drink of water, and I was able to pull out my next 2 pages and grab more refills for my tape runners. Because I knew if I didn't, then that would be when I would definitely need them. And now who knows if we'll be switching those out again or not. But it is what it is. And I'm glad that I had that quick minute to get that done. All right. Next page that we're going to be working from is page 12. Let me go ahead and do this again. Oops, that might be a little too far. Here we go. If you want to see real quick what mats, and then there are some extra pieces that will be coming in for this layout. I need to get everything separated still, but you know, I guess I prioritize the tape runners and the water, and we'll get this sorted out here also. Those are going on. Let's see, I have lots of embellishments, lots of papers. I need probably a couple of strips here. This one, this one, and this one. Let's see. Make sure I have everything I need for the side of the page. Let's hope so. You can see kind of where we're going here a little bit. And let's see. Again, just using up a few more scraps. And it just kind of worked out nicely with this. The coloring on this page, it just needed a little bit more as well. And based on our sketch, the sketch had a lot of, it had 4 smaller photos. Here, let me make it easier for what I'm explaining here. It does have the 4 smaller photos, and it has like a different color coming off each end. And it was interesting because looking at it, these are 6x4s and these are smaller. So I just kind of tried to work with what they were giving me a little bit. I don't always look at the sizing on there, but I did for this one. And I pulled out a 4.5 by 6.5 mat here. The one that has almost the same pattern on the back, but I didn't want to, I just thought that would make it disappear. And also a 4.25 by 6.25 mat here. That has the blue on one side and the green on the back. We're going to be using the blue side. Okay, so we also have a couple of smaller pieces. These are 2 3/4 by 4 inches. and it has the blue, come almost purpley blue swirls on the back, but it has that yellowy watercolor on the front, and another piece that's 1.5 by 3 of the same paper. And then this is the bluer with the green on the back, from the tonal pack, I believe. So we're going to start here just by putting some tape runner on all these smaller pieces, and then we'll get our other mats on as well. And I do have some different embellishments to go on too. Okay. First things first, I'm going to get out my zero centering ruler because this one is going directly on to the right side of our left page, and I said it was a 3-inch piece, so I should be right at 1.5 inches here. Yep, to get that one layered in there. And then we're going to go over about 1/2 inch, which, hang on, how big wide was the strip? 1.5 inches. So I need to go back a little bit. Let me, sorry about that. Let me flip my ruler over because that's where my 1/2 inch line is. So I don't know if you all are very familiar with the zero centering ruler. It does have your grid lines running up and down through the ruler as well. So here is 1 inch. It says 1 here, but it's really 1/2 inch from the edge of the ruler. So it's 1 inch over from the 0 because you can center it through either direction of the ruler. Hopefully I explained that well, but I'm going 1/2 inch in. And actually, I might want to go 3/4. I'm going to go in 3/4. I'm going to change my mind here. There we go. And then this strip was 10 inches. So it looks like it's a little bit over 10 inches. Looks like it's closer to 10.5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and place that one there. Sometimes it's interesting here. And that's not straight. Okay. I was wondering about that. It looked like it was just ever so slightly off. My ruler was straight. My piece of paper was not. So let's just bring that in just a hair. There we go. Okay. Whew. There's that one. And now we are going to, I'm going to kind of place these on here. Whoops, these are going this direction, this way. Nope, these are going this way. Okay. And I've got these because I've got these 2 pieces, and one is going to come up and through here, but I need to make sure I have enough space for my mat on my page as well. So I want that down just a little bit. There we go. Roughly where I want it. And then this other one is going to go at the top, kind of the same deal. I want to make sure that this is going to overlap this, just kind of like our wider strip overlap the other one here. Because I do that from time to time. Every once in a while, I'll run a thinner strip through a page to act as a photo mat for me. So I'll show you what I mean here in just a moment. Let me get these stuff down first. We're kind of just bringing this down and centering it. So it's about 3/4 again. And yes, I could get my ruler out, but I am not. These are both running horizontally through the page. Okay. About 3/4 inch. There we go. And there's that one. Okay, so what I mean by this ribbon, I guess, if you will, so when I'm placing another photo on the page here, I'll actually use this piece of paper to kind of center it, and I can even get 2 photos through here as well. I can do another smaller photo, and then you just see that just that little bit of paper sticking out, or you can center it and have it so you have a lot of it sticking out. But that is my other photo mat essentially on my page. I'm not going to place one because I want this this piece of paper, this scrap, is going to be my actual photo mat, if you will, or that's what its purpose is. Anyways, for me, we're going to add in our darker waves and our stars through here, because we, you know, it is actually Serene Waters. We do kind of have a little bit of a water theme through everything. I'm going to make sure to not put a foam square on that end of my moon embellishment here, because I want to be able to get my photo underneath it on my photo mat. There we go. And this one will stay up well enough. Here we go, but I can easily slide now my photo under there. And here's my other enameled stars. Let me get these waves down. Move this out of the way. Oops, if I can pick them up again. Goodness. Every once in a while, you just have to slide things around a little. Okay. Here we go. And just running through there. It shouldn't, if you put your photo on, just put it over the little end point of the wave, no problem. We're going to add our extra stars here because we have several of them that can be used. And why not? If you've got them, use them, right? I think so. There we go. All right, our left side is done for this layout. I'm going to bring in the right side now. And again, I've got a mat from our mat pack. This is the one that has kind of the blue oceany look to the back side of it. But we're going to have this strip running down again. We're going to have the smaller pieces for our anchors, I guess, if you will, to this page. Something that was really brought about by our sketch, or inspired by our sketch, I guess I should say. Okay. And this one needs the zero centering ruler again. Right up against the edge here. 1.5. Okay. Yep, that one's just right. Just, let's see if this one I got closer to 10 or 10.5 again. And we're going to go in that 3/4 of an inch again using our ruler. Let me actually get this lined up and see if I can actually do a better job of lining up this. I think it's because it's angled is what it is. It's up. What I mean by angled is it's just, I don't have a flat on the page because of the jeeping on the side of the page is raising up my ruler just a little bit is what the deal was with that. So, okay. Took me a little bit to figure that one out. Now we're going to have one of these coming in from the bottom. I don't want to press it down because I want to make sure I get my mat lined up also. This one's going to be here, but I want to make sure it has enough space. Okay, I'm going to bring it over just a hair bit more. Okay. So there's one, and then this one is going to be coming down from this side over here with this other mat on it. So let's get some spacing on this one. And like I said, you could easily use your ruler again. You can use your 13 by 13 mat, but I'm just going to work off of my photo and eyeball it a little bit here. So, I mean, it's about 1.25 inches from the edge of the page here and about 3/4 to 1 inch from the top up there. just done so many measurements with some of these that it's getting easier to tell how far apart some of these distances are. All right, bringing that down, kind of centering it over our little platform here, or our mat holder, if you will. And this one's going up here and between these two, over just a little. Oof, there we go. Okay, that looks crooked. Let me fix that just a hair. There we go. And finally, we have our sun embellishment here. I'm going to bring it a little closer to the right because, of course, we want to get a photo in there. There's that. And then I also pulled out an extra little piece of paper here, and I've already stuck down my relax onto it. Actually, it wasn't a little piece of paper. It was actually two. Whoops. And what it was the squares from the center of cutting the 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. When you do that and you go around, you wind up with a little square that comes out of the middle. And that's what those two were those little squares that came out from cutting mats. And I just thought, you know, this is a great way to use up a scrap this way. And we're just going to run this through here, kind of centered through the top of our layout. I want to stick it underneath this one as well. Let me grab my multi-purpose tool. Lift that up. The other one's lifting up nicely for me. It was this other one that wasn't. Come here, you. Am I the only one that talks to the paper sometimes? So you want to get it to cooperate. You think you can talk to it, right? There we go. Okay, there's our relax. Go ahead and get down our sunshine here on this side. And then I have 2 more waves and a couple more stars that we're going to put down on this side of the page. These are a little bit darker, a little bit smaller, but they're going to fit nicely into our space here. And then add the orange, because remember we had so much orange on the other side of the page. It's nice to have a little bit of orange on this side as well to bring in that color again. So, all right. Right side of our page is done. I will bring in the left side as well. Let me get some of this out of the way. Goodness gracious. Oops. Bone folder's not cooperating. We'll go ahead and put it there. Move this over. Bring this one in. And there we go. A really nice 2-page layout inspired from our sketch on page 12. Like I said, you're going to add photos here in the center. Whether you choose to add 1 or 2 smaller is up to you. There's definitely some versatility here. But here was our original inspiration from our sketch, and I've just made it where you can have some larger photos on it, basically, because I am not as much of a fan of the smaller photos. And so I thought, you know what, we still followed through with some of the extra pieces that they added. I just took it a step further and added the larger photos to it. So hopefully y'all liked that one. Let's see what's next. It's like once I see it, then I'm kind of like, oh, okay, oh yeah, I know where I'm going with it again. It just takes me an extra minute to remember what I've done. But all right. Okay, let's see here. What page we're going to be working with from next, page 6. And I used my Power Project, the sorter, to use in between these, so I would actually be able to pull them up quickly, easily in between. Okay, here is page 6. And let me do this again. Here we go. So here's the mats that are coming. It looks like we're going to have 6 4x6. Take that one off. And I think it was just because I saw the sides here and I saw the sides on here on our pre-printed Fast Fab. That just spoke to me a bit with this layout. Let me see here. We've got lots of fishy mats on this one. We got a Gone Fishing sticker. And I should have, yep, I do. I have 6. These are my 4x6, and I need to adjust the light again. Okay. If I forget and y'all can't see, somebody put something in the comments. Say, hey, adjust your light. I'm glad I remembered, though. Okay. So I have a couple of strips that I had from scraps, but then I also have our fish. Okay, the fish are going to be going across the bottom here. That is going with this one. Okay. On to the left side. All right, so we have these light blue fish with the gray fish on the back side for our 4x6 mats there. I have a strip that I did not write down the measurement for. So like I said, some of these I was doing kind of late at night. That's a 2-inch by 12-inch strip that has the orange stripes on the back of it. We're going to use this blue side, I think, just to go in between our border here. And then we have the 2 fish border stickers that are going to go across the bottom of both of our pages, it looks like. So let's go ahead and get started placing this one down here. Just adding a little extra to our border that's already on the page. Bringing in, oh, so many fish to this page. Between our border sticker and our mats, we're going to have lots of fish. And I think that's why I have my Gone Fishing sticker up there, because we're fish crazy on this one. But this collection did have a lot of fish going on. I think these little fish were from the tonal pack as well. Okay, it doesn't really matter which direction you put these. So we're going to kind of bring these over about 1/4 of an inch from the edge of our paper here. And this one is going to get centered over here. So let's see here. How are we looking? I think that looks pretty good. Let me make sure I'm not crooked at all. And it does look pretty good. Not bad. All right. I'm going to stick those 3 mats down. And again, this page has plenty of space for journaling in these lighter areas. So there's not a problem with that at all. I'm going to put my little green fish up here in my border. And we'll put the Gone Fishing above it. And I don't think I'm going to pop it up at all. We're just going to go ahead and lay it up there. So then that way, if you do want to add another photo or some other journaling on there, you have space to do it. Believe it or not, that's it for the left side of our page. Hang on, let me get the light blocker so that way y'all can see these light on light colors a little bit better. There we go. It's like when it's down here, you can kind of see the pattern. It's just when you get it closer, you're closer to the light and it seems to wash it out somehow. But that's why I've learned to use the light blocker and it seems to work. So I'll just keep going with it. On this right side of the page, we're doing basically the same thing we did on the left, with just a couple of different embellishments, a different paper strip here. This one, I believe, is the same. Also that 2-inch strip. Yes, so it is also 2 inches by 12 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and put this through the center of this one as well. And it adds just that little extra, I guess, that little extra color, that little extra something to the page. You can definitely be a lot more elaborate with your decoration. You can, get your, what's that one called? The mirrored, this one. The mirrored scallop chain. I don't know why. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, why didn't I add that to this going down? But I didn't, so I can give you the idea to maybe do that if you want. And it looks like our fish do have eyes on them, and the eyes always go to the top. So our fish are all going to be running in the same direction across the page. I kind of sometimes like them running towards each other, but not this time, because we don't want to have a whole school of upside down fish, do we? No, we do not. So that's going to go across the bottom there. And then we are going to go ahead and add tape runner to the backs of our mats again. And we're going to place them roughly the same as we did on our other page, with 2 on one side and 1 coming down through the border a little bit, kind of centered on our page. Okay. Whoops. There's that one. Let's hope I've got these other 2 reasonably straight. I think so. And there we go. Okay, so we have our net with our fish here, and that one's going to go up here. So it's almost like we have water running up through our page a little bit as well. And I have this other lure that's going to go down at the bottom here, as if we're trying to hook one of our fish from our school of fish here. And again, journaling can happen here, 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 or you can add another photo in this area if you don't mind a smaller photo, or just do what I do and don't color in the lines. And, you can add a vertical picture here and a horizontal picture here, whatever you want to do. It definitely, don't be tied to your mats if you don't want to. But they still add just a little pop for your photos anyways. So there is the right side of our page there. And I will bring in the left side. Oops. Catching on one of my cords here. Goodness. It kind of is just wide enough for me and 2 scrapbook pages in this area here, basically. It seems to work most of the time. Here we go. All right, there is our 2-page layout together with all of our fish. And let's see if does that help it pop a little bit more? Maybe it just looks darker, doesn't it? But not too shabby. We took a layout that had 2 photos on it, and we added in the 3rd photo and made it our 2-page layout again. So there we go. All right. Ready for the next one, I think. Oh, wait, no, this is the one. Actually, this is the one that inspired me to do this whole journey here. The one with the fish border. And again, I will try to link these on my channel. But this is the one I did recently. I think it was part of my 101, the sketchbook challenge. And just reminded me of how much I really loved this collection, and also how much of it that I actually own. So, and that I really wanted to get this album done. So I will link it in the description box. If I forget, somebody leave me a comment and say, hey, you forgot to link those 2 videos that you already had done. So that way you can see how to put those together. And amazingly enough, we are getting closer towards the end. I can't believe it. Feels like we've done a lot already, which we have, but we still have a few more to go. I'm not sure. Let's see which page this one's coming from. Scoot over my other piece here. Move these over. Oh boy. We've got a lot going on here. Here we go. I don't know which page this one goes on yet. Oh, this probably goes on this right side. Looks like this is all for this left side. Page 37 is, I'm guessing one of these goes here. One of those is going to go there. Let's check out page 37 first. All right, if I can get the pages to work with me here. Here we go. Polar lights. All right, this one. Here we go. This is what this one is based on. And this one is, I think, just maybe just a little bit more involved. You can tell, I think I did this one when I was really fresh. Maybe it wasn't quite as late at night when I was working on it. So I think it's going to be a fun one. It looks like already. I like the colors. Happy with what I've done, I think. Let's see here. All right. Get my photo up again here. Stick this over. Oh my goodness, I lost another hair. Okay. Left side of the page. Here we go. It looks like I've pulled out. So like I said, I did have 2 sticker collections as well as I think 2 embellishment packs, but I don't think I only had 1 laser cut border. So it looks like we're going to be using our blue and orange side of this laser cut border that has more of a green tone on the back side, and our water lilies. So it looks like I have 2 sets of water lilies because on the sketch it had a extra border running across the top and the bottom, and I just went with it with this one. It looks like I've got a 3/4 of an inch by 12-inch strip also to put our water lilies on. And I've got quite a few stickers and things. We'll see where all this goes coming up. And it looks like, oh, see, this is where one of those squares come from. I've got 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. Looks like I've got 4 of those for this layout, and they are going to go kind of through the middle of our page here. I'm using the dark bluish greenish page. Has the orange kind of look on the back side of it. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and stick down our top part of our page here first. Work our way down a little, maybe do some of the bottom. I don't know exactly where I'm going to go with this, but we'll figure it out. Get it all stuck down, just kind of like how we've been doing the rest of the layouts here. So this one's at the top here. Oops. And we'll go ahead and add our border sticker here. Our water lilies going across and underneath just a little bit. Okay, maybe we are going to put it over it. It really makes it pop when it's on it. So we're actually just going to go ahead and put that on top of our little strip. Wow, that really makes it shine and really pop off our page here. Let's see, on our bottom, I have I have another 3/4 of an inch by 12-inch strip. So let me see if I had I actually had an extra one. Actually, it's not 12, it's 10. Because this one's a little bit shorter. So this one's going to go along the bottom of our page. And then we'll get our water lilies going on this one too. I may actually need to get out my ruler for this one. Well, I think we'll get it close. Here we go. Yep, about 1 inch in on each side, running through the bottom. And then it looks like I've got my both water lilies. So I've got the sticker and the embellishment going. Let's get our sticker down first. Again, on top of our 3/4 inch strip, just like we did along the top. Here we go. And then I think, yep, I was going to run this through, but first I want to place some of these reeds. So it looks like I've got 3 reeds that are going to go on this side here. Oops, I bent one a little bit. So I have 2 with the darker from the embellishment pack and 1 lighter from the sticker set that are going to go in this corner. And then I've got, hang on, at the row saying, I've got a bird going on to my scrap here, and a couple more water lilies. And okay, another reed here, and then a couple more. Do I have any reeds up there? Nope. Yes. Okay, I have 1 more reed behind my bird here. Okay. So there we go, bringing in all the reeds here. Just wanted to make sure I'm going to get my placement here correct. I'll put down my photo mats before I put down my other embellishment, but just want to make sure that these are roughly where I thought they were going to be. It's a lot of stickers and embellishments for this page, but just kind of worked. It seemed to just, yeah, work. I think part in part I don't know how I had so many of these reeds, but it just, maybe from the 2 sticker sets and the 2 embellishment sets, I wound up with a lot of the little water plants somehow. So we'll get these all stuck down, and I'm sure it'll all be beautiful. It's just a matter of layering them so they look nice together. There we go. So we have the dark and the light here. We have some lighter here. And this will scoot over. I'll wait to actually put that one down. Let's get our, yep, the bluer side of our other water lilies down here. So that's going to go over where the green lilies are too here. Up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I don't usually layer quite so much on a page, but it just, like I said, sometimes these things speak to me, and that's what was talking to me about this page. And on the sketch, we have 2 photos also kind of side by side. I'm going to give it just a little bit of a gap, and then we'll place this, and we should have space down here for either journaling or another photo later. Yep, I think that looks pretty good. Let's flip those and go with it. Okay. So a little bit closer to the top of the page than the bottom, and that's also how the sketch is showing it as well. Amazingly enough, I'm actually following the sketch a little bit here. We'll put our All Good Things Are Wild and Free by Thoreau. Up here at the top, I'm going to grab actually a little bit of my foam tape and my stickers. It just comes in handy with these kind of longer stickers now. I just find it's easy rather than using multiple foam squares, although I know I've been using quite a few throughout the rest of the album. That one just was screaming for foam tape. And now let's get this little bit down. This was our, again, like I said, our scrap from cutting these 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. And I just thought it really brings back in this color. Kind of like how we did on that other layout where we layered those pieces under the other. This one just seems to want just that little bit of extra color to the side. And on the layout, they have it a little bit, an extra like border or something. Maybe it's the designer paper. I would have to pull back out my Polar Lights collection to actually see, but we're going to get our bird on here. And then I think we're going to pop up our, here we go, our water lily, so it goes across and over these other pieces here. So let's get some smaller foam squares going over here and here. Oops. And we'll put one in the middle as well. Okay. The hardest part is always trying to get that little bit of paper off of your fingers, I think. I don't know what it is about the paper that likes to stick so much, but there we go. Left side of our page is done. Here we go. You can see our little clusters with our reeds and our water bird with our lilies there. Now let's work on the right side a bit. Hopefully y'all didn't forget we have a right side as well. And this one, we're going in a similar fashion here, but I do have a journal box. I've got some more reeds. Like I said, I had a lot of reeds somehow, and I think actually it was this laser cut border that inspired me to pull out all those reeds, because it actually had a few reeds on the end of it. And here's another water bird. It's like it reminds me of the blue herons kind of around the Gulf Coast of Florida a bit, but I don't think that's what that one actually is. Maybe an egret. I don't know. It's interesting though. And then I've got my other two 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. And then this one is a half of one of our 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So it's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And it does have the lines running across it for our journal box. Otherwise, it has almost the same green as what's on our base. You can see the lines there. Let's go ahead and we're going to start sticking down our 3/4 inch by 12 inch first. And then we'll get our 10-inch one going at the bottom. But we'll start at the top again, kind of like how we did on the opposite side of the page. Get our water lilies going again. Believe it or not, I still have stickers that didn't get used from this collection. I think I did use all the border stickers though. Go figure. Bringing our 10-inch strip in about 1 inch on each side, and then we're going to layer on this water lily again to the bottom of our page. I just love how this dark paper makes this sticker pop. Really looks good on it, in case I hadn't mentioned that already. And now we'll go ahead and get these reeds stuck down again, and then we'll put our actually, I'm going to get these placed so then that way I can figure out where the ones on our actual border come in. So we have our bird and we have our, I guess that's looks okay behind there, up a little. And then this one is going to come, oops. Okay, work with me here. Here we go. So that's back there, and this one can go back this way a little. Okay. Now I've got a good idea of general placement. It's okay to eyeball it, but sometimes you need to eyeball it with a little purpose here. So I always get a a good general feel for these things, but sometimes it's easier to, when you're actually placing everything down, it just seems to flow. Okay. So here we go. This one's going right in here and between those other two, over just a hair and down a little. So that's why it's kind of on top of our water lilies as well as with the reeds. There we go. Wow, that's beautiful. Flip over our mat so we can get these placed down next. And again, a little bit closer to the top than to the bottom. So it's definitely off center here. These are going to have about 1/4 of an inch in between again, just like we had on the left side of the page. And then we'll get our journal box here right flush up against the right side, kind of centered off of our mats. There we go. So it's basically almost like a 1/16 of an inch there. It's kind of close, but you still have a little bit of the paper showing behind it. All right, the right side of this page is done now. There we go. You can see the close-up of all those reeds again. Let me grab out the left side of the page. And there you go. What do y'all think of that one? It's kind of a little bit different. Like I said, you can definitely add your extra journaling at the top if you want, but definitely plan to journal here. You can easily add another photo along the bottom here and here as well. Our inspiration sketch did just have the 2 photos on it upright, kind of close together on it. But it did have all these borders at the top and the bottom, as well as some things off to the side. Their journal box might have been a little bit bigger, but it's okay. I like using these half mats. I think it was one of those that I had left over from something else. So it's nice to have a use for it and a pretty page to put it on that fit for the coloring of the mat as well. Okay, I think I need another minute break. That's only been how long? Almost 2.5 hours. Goodness, that I've been on here. We don't have too many more layouts. I think there's about 4 of them left to do. So let me take another minute to get another quick water break, and I will be back with you in just a minute or so here. All right, I'm back. I've grabbed a throat drop because I've been talking for a while now. Goodness, I'm glad I take a few pauses, but you know, still in all, it wears on your throat a bit, especially since I've been sick for so long. Our next layout is based on page 19, and this one is kind of fun as well. Here we go. You can see it has this decorative piece in the corners, and I thought it went really well with the decoration that was already on this part of our Fast to Fab album. Okay, lighting again here. And it looks like I have a little bit more vellum on this one. Not a lot, but a little bit. Looks like a 6x6 piece. Yes, it is a 6x6 piece of vellum. And I've got a larger piece of paper. I've got some mats. Make sure I've got everything I need for my left side. Yep, you can see where this one also has the water as well. And we're going to get this put together. Let's see, what size are our mats? Okay, this one also has the 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. I did use the more green tone, kind of almost watercolor looking paper. It has the blue on the back, but we're going to use the green side this time. Might just add water sticker and a couple of water bubbles. This one is 9 inches by 9 inches. This is the water looking paper. It's the one with the squares on the back, so now you know why I had some of these square scraps earlier. Because like I said, I worked back to front. And so now I'm putting it back together front to back. Maybe some of it will make sense. And we have 2 6x6 pieces of vellum. This is the one with the water look to it. So we're going to place that down first. Again, inspired by the sketch. And that sketch had the 2 corners. So this kind of gives us that little extra interest for the other corner. And what did I do with the bone folder? I hid it on myself here. Always sounds kind of funny, but it works. It goes quickly. Definitely not too long. So let's get this 9 by 9 inch square into the center. It's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to put a little bit more tape on it. Not much. But this one is going to come in angled from the corner. Hang on, I need to put this back so I can see my photo a little bit better. Make sure I'm getting my placement where I thought I wanted my placement here anyways. Okay, so kind of centered on this one. And I am eyeballing the corners. So you can see here, this one is pretty much right in the center of my page. Again, you can pull out your 13 by 13 mat if you want it, but I'm just going for it. It's going on a long time here that I've been working on this album, and I'm ready to get it done. So I'm gonna be, we'll see. I might have to pull out my ruler again. I'm not gonna say never, that's for sure. These are gonna go here. So this one's in between these two. This one is going in the bottom corner here, pretty much flush up against the edge of our paper here. And the third one is going right here. It's along the edge as well. This one's going to come over just a hair bit more. There we go. So that way we have about a 1/2 inch in between here and a 1/2 inch in between there. I think I'm reasonably well lined up. Let me just press those down, and there you go. It's kind of fun. We're going to pop up our just add water. Let's see. Oh, this is an actual embellishment. It's not a sticker. I think there is a just add water sticker also in here somewhere or something similar. So, wow. You can tell it's, had no idea. That's okay. We're adding foam tape to it to pop it up anyways. So I was going to do the foam squares, but now we're just going to pop this one up right here above this. I'm going to actually give it 1/4 of an inch from the bottom here or the top of our 9-inch piece. And I'm going to put these little bubbles coming up from behind it, going upwards. So my small single bubble is on the bottom and my 2 bigger bubbles are at the top. And I will show you that close up once I get my foam squares off of the paper. All right. How's about that? There is that. Hang on, because those stickers are light too. There you go. There's a close-up of those stickers coming up from my Just Add Water embellishment. You can see the vellum there and where I placed those mats on the page. All right. Left side of the page is done. Let's get this right side put together. Maybe I'll surprise. I don't know if I'm going to surprise myself with another embellishment or not. We'll see. I think it looks like there's mostly stickers on this right side. Okay. We do, yeah, these are all stickers. That's easier to tell, I guess. 3 more of our 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats, starting with our 6 by 6 vellum again. We're essentially just going to work again from the opposite corner, coming down with our vellum first, and then our 9 by 9 square again, and just a repeating pattern, if you will. I feel like I put more tape runner on that one. I don't usually put that much of the vellum tape runner. It really seems to hold it really well. So you don't need too much. I feel like I put a little too much on that one. Okay, there we go. Now we'll get our 9 by 9 square down. And again, I'm just going to eyeball these corners again and get it centered on the page as best as I can. Looks pretty good. All right. And now we need our 3 mats coming on our page again. We're going to use the green side up again. I think this one is one of my favorite pages. I just really love all the blues and the greens. I mean, I don't mind the oranges, but I don't know. There's something that just speaks to me a little bit more about these. Okay, this one's going to come from the corner. This one's going to overlap a little bit like we did on the other side. And then the third one is right here. So I need to scoot this one over a little bit, actually. This one's coming in from here. This one's going up here. So we might line these 2 up a little bit better. I think I am, rather than lining it with the edge of the album. And this one can line up with the edge, kind of like the one on the other side. I think that's fine there. How am I looking on the camera? Everything looks pretty straight except for this one. Oops. And of course, now I knocked it. It's really not going to be straight. All right. Not bad. There are our mats for our right side of our page. Now we have stickers. Let's see here. We have our diving vest and our flippers that are going to go up here at the top. And these are going to go sideways, kind of here. We have more bubbles that we'll put with the little bubble at the bottom and the bigger ones at the top again. I have Dive In, because of course we have we've got the flippers, but I don't know if you're diving in, you're not necessarily floating. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a couple of our smaller foam squares for the Dive In. If I can get it unstuck from my fingernail here. Because I like this paper, just looks like water. It's really interesting. I guess because they put all these little bubbles running through it, or circles. Here's our mask. That's going to be on this side over here. I'm just going to go there. And a few more bubbles. That was the other thing. We had a lot of reeds and we had a lot of bubbles in this pack here. Both the sticker and I think the embellishment pack had a few bubbles too. So let's put our bubbles going up this way. All right, right side of this page is done now. Let me, since the background's just a little bit lighter, I want to make sure y'all can see those bubbles as well. Our Dive In and our other bubbles and our base page. And there you go. So let's go ahead and put these two side by side. What do y'all think of that one? Not bad. Not bad at all. And here is our sketch that inspired it. And you can see where it kind of also has that pattern through the corners. And that's what I tried to mimic going through my page as well. And they had two smaller photos, but of course, I like the larger photos, so I put larger photo mats on here. So you can easily get 6 on there. You can journal in your vellum again if you want, or you can add a white strip from your index sheet going through this side here if you want for easier journaling as well. Okay, that one's done. Here comes another orange page. There's a lot of orange in this collection. I don't mind orange. Actually, orange is my husband's favorite color, but there's a lot of orange. Okay. This one has some sea stars, and they were getting caught in my box, so I wasn't going to be able to bring up my sheet here. Let's see, page 5. All right, page 5 has got to be at the beginning here. Yep. Here we go. Let me grab my sea star so I can show you all what I used here as well. So here we go. Let me do this again, just in case anybody wants to get a screenshot of the mat size. I've got 6 4x6 and 1 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. It looks like coming. The inspiration used devotion collection, but we're going to be adding a whole lot more. Let's see. All right. This is for this side of the page. These two are for this side of the page. This is for this side of the page. I've got, I don't know how many. Ooh. 1, 2, and I need a third one. Let me look at this one. Okay, there's that. Here's the sea stars. Here's more sea stars. And this is over here as well. This one's a little more embellished as well. Okay, one more of these. Okay, this one is going up. I think I've got all my pieces I need for my left side of my page. It's one of those things where I have to look really closely at my picture to make sure I'm not missing anything, and I have to double check my cheat sheet here too. All right. So these pieces here, I punched 4 borders with our Sea Star Chain Border Maker cartridge. And this one is just such a cute one, and I feel like I don't get to use it enough. So I was actually really happy for the opportunity to be able to use it with this collection. It's such a cute Border Maker cartridge. It's a lot of fun, actually. And the papers I used actually are these two. So these are the 2 papers I punched our Sea Star chains from. And the backside of the ombre-ish one that goes from the blue to the orange is that net paper. And the backside of this multicolor one is the waves. So definitely trying to use as much as I can throughout all of the whole book here. This one is one of our 4x6 mats from our mat pack. It has the sun on both sides. And then I also cut several 4x6 from using the backside of our net looking paper, which was the one I think that has the sun on it as well. So let's see here. What am I doing? We are going to be putting our blue first. And it's this side of the paper, so it's going to be up. So let me go ahead, and this one is actually going to ombre. Flip these 2 over and get some tape runner going. We're going to start on this right side of the page just real quick here, because it seems like that's where it's a good place to start this time. And our sketch had a lot of borders. It just had a lot of borders showing and running up and down. So I thought, let's go ahead and put a couple borders running up and down. So we're going to layer these 2, not quite next to each other, maybe about 1/4 of an inch over the blue and green colorful papers, where we're going to place our ombre on top of that. And we'll be adding some embellishments to that coming up. And now let's get our left side going a little bit with our border on this side. Like I said, this one's definitely, I think this one also was when I did a lot for this one. Not a bad thing, but it's just interesting going back through to see how much and how little, or, which ones have more and which ones don't have as much, I guess, which ones are a little simpler. This one I think definitely is a little bit more. And again, I'm running the ombre with the orange at the bottom here. So I'm matching the way I am placing these on the page. I had found this little Sea Star border sticker as well. So we're going to run this one through the middle of our other 2 borders here. Oops, that's good. I was able to get it to not stick so I could get it to stick better for me. Using my repositionable tape again. Here we go. And again, so I'm just matching the colors that are already on the page here, just repeating some of the colors and patterns. And it makes it just a really pretty page overall. This one is going to layer a little bit over one of our borders here. And then we have these other 2, the orange. This one's going to have the orange towards the top. So we're kind of mimicking, but going slightly different. And just because we have this orange net background on this thing. Also, then we're going to run this last one through the bottom of our page here with our mats. Yes. Okay. And then we can add all those fun embellishments that I've got set to the side. This one's going to be a cute page too. And like I said earlier, if you all have any questions, I am monitoring the chat and looking up from time to time. but I am definitely looking up in between each page as well. So feel free to ask any questions if anybody has any. I thank you all for joining me and watching me put all of this together. It's been a little bit of a marathon for me today here. But I'm glad to get it done. I know I'll be really glad to have this finished. Okay, so from our embellishment pack, we also had this piece that has the similar pattern to what's on our paper that's on the edge here. So we'll go ahead and get this one placed down in this bottom corner here. At a little bit of an angle, going through all three of our sea stars, and I want to put my words on. I've got family, dive in, and friends. So remember, we did use dive in before, but we're using it again because I had more than one set of stickers. So it's okay to have similar words throughout our pages, I think. Kind of keeps our theme. And I liked the colors also on these words. It just really felt right to have all three of them on here. Okay, and then we also have our by the lake. Again, like I said, more than one pack meant I could use it more than once. So we're going by the lake again up here. And I'm going to pop this up because it's going to overhang our photo here just a little bit. Not by much, but a little bit. So I want to make sure it doesn't interfere with when I go to put my photo on my page. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and use these smaller foam squares again. And I'm actually going to have to cut one of these in half. Grab my microtip scissors and just go for it here. Because this stem on this sign is a little bit skinny, even for our small foam squares. All right. Here we go, by the lake. It just worked. The color, I don't know. The color of the sign was just perfect for this corner here. And then we have our little, almost reverse ombre octopi here. Is it octopi, octopus, octopuses? I think it's octopi. Somebody can correct me if I'm completely in left field there. But there we go. We have 4 of them for this side of the page and 4 for the other. So to see, they're actually really cute. I don't know why it's making me giggle, but they just look adorable on there. Look at those little guys hanging out. And I don't know if you would find them in a lake or not, but you know, maybe. You never know. They just work. The colors work. And I am very color centric a lot of the time. So I don't know if they would be, you know, does anybody know a lake that has them? Let me know. Are there any saltwater lakes? I guess the Great Lakes maybe are saltwater, if I remember correctly. I don't know. We lived in Wisconsin for almost 5 years. You'd think I would know that, but it's okay. Somebody can help me. Somebody has to know. Leave me a comment or put one in the chat. All right, so we're doing a similar effect here on this side of the page. Our mats are going to be lined up just ever so slightly differently, but our base pieces are going to go on the same. So let me go ahead and start doing some tape runner here again. Oops. Go ahead and place down our multicolor blues and green 12-inch strip here, followed by our ombre from the blue to the orange. That should be enough. Here we go with the blue on the top, going over about 1/4 inch over your strip next to it, lining it up at the top and the bottom of your page. And then let's go ahead with our Sea Star chain again. And with this being a chain border maker cartridge, it just releases from the cartridge in a chain like this. It's really a nice one. Like I said, I need to pull this one out a little bit more, but I don't always have it. You know, this, I guess it just fits this collection so well. We'll have to see what our summer collection is this year, and hopefully it'll still be for sale, because it is currently still for sale if you don't have this one. It's just really nice. Some of the sea stars have holes or little dots in them, and some have little stars in them, and some are solid. So there's a variety of interest going down through the stars along your border as well. Next is our other sea star border sticker. This time going down in the middle. And finally our other sea star chain. Let me make sure. Yep. Okay, same side up on the paper. Okay. Had to double check to make sure I was putting the tape on the right or the correct side of my chain here. Looks like my sticker went a little bit over. I need to grab my scissors and snip that just a hair, because it's going to be off the edge of my page and I don't want that. So we're just going to flip over our page and take a quick snip. Comes right off my scissors and into the trash. If I can get it off of my finger. There we go. Okay. What's next? All right, next comes our 4x6 mat that says, "When you go through deep waters, I will be with you." Isaiah 43:2. Just a beautiful sentiment there. And that's going to go through all three of our borders on the side. I have two of my 4x6 mats, the ones that had the net on the back side and the kind of watercolor effect on the front. And finally, oh, here's the other half of that mat that we used on the page. I don't know if it was the previous page or 2 pages ago, but it's here. It's coming on this page. And this is going to scoot over just a little bit over our actual orange net, and this is going to go in between. So we'll get those lined up in a minute. Okay. Here we go. Just along our jeeping here. Whoops. I don't know if y'all knew the sides of our pages are called, they have jeeping on them, is what the technical term is, where our staples come out from, and this other end gives the page that little bit of extra strength. When you buy our Fast Fab pages or our album pages that go directly into our Creative Memory cover sets, all the pages have the jeeping, which is really nice. They're reinforced. Even our pocket pages have the jeeping on them, which is fantastic for keeping things for a long time. And okay, I'm lining that one up with the top, so I need to line this one up with the bottom, and it's about 1/4 of an inch on either side from our little border here and from this little end of our mat on the side here. Finally, this one will get centered in the middle here. It looks like it's going to have about 1/2 inch from the top and the bottom of the mat above and below it, and about 1 inch on either side here. Okay. We also have a circular sunrise, sunset, sunshine embellishment that we're going to put over here on the side. I am going to pop this one up as well using one of our large foam squares here. And then guess what? We have the other half of our octopi. I'm just going to call them octopi, unless somebody corrects me, going down our page here. And again, we're just going to, it's kind of like a reverse ombre for what our actual ombre is. The orange is going on the top, where our orange is on the bottom here. the colors just work in this order, like I said, and they just look too cute on this page to not include them. I love it. All right, the right side of our page is now complete. Here we go. Here's the left side, bringing it in. And what do y'all think about that one? It's a little bit brighter than some of the others. We have a little more of the orange, but we also had the orange netting base on this one. I thought about bringing in the green net paper that we used earlier, but opted to go this route. I think it just meshed better with the page, and it also worked with our sketch that inspired the whole thing. And you can see we're here even they have 3 going down the side. So that's what inspired me to do 3 on each side. So that's how we wound up with so many of our little sea stars going through our page, and then just some other embellishing journal boxes here. And you can easily fit 5 photos. If you want to cover up this saying as well, you could put a 6, but you could cut one down and put one down here as well. All right, that's it for that one. Let's get the next one going, because we still have a couple more. Believe it or not, I think there's still at least 2 more 2-page layouts to go. Oh no, maybe there's just one. Let's see here. Let me get all this moved. Move this up here so I can see what page I need to pull from. Page 56. Oh yeah, we are. This is actually our last 2-page layout before our closing page here. I don't want to say it went fast because it didn't necessarily go super fast, but I feel like it's moved along at a reasonable pace, hopefully. I appreciate those of you that have joined me today for this. And let's move this over here. This is staying over here. This is going over here. And I think that's it. Okay, let's move this over here. All right, page 56 looks like this. Let me adjust again, remove my, oh yeah, look at that. I'm down to my last Post-it at the bottom. If you were with me at the beginning, there was a whole slew of Post-it notes coming out of the bottom of my book here. So there's our mats. We're going to be using a couple of larger mats for this one. They inspired a bit by our layout here, our sketch. And yes, I have a few coming out the top as well for a couple of other layouts I've already designed that I still need to film for my Sketch With Me series and my book challenge series here. So this one is, oh, you know what I forgot to show you all earlier was our canoe. This was our canoe wave chain from that layout several layouts ago. And here is the one I'm using on this one is our Sunshine Arches. So that's this border maker cartridge right here that I punched with our orange paper. It's the paper that has the seagrass on the back of it that we used a lot for mats earlier in the book. And I have, it looks like 2 of our 4.5 by 6.5 mats for the side of the page. The back sides are stripes and kind of the same color as the screen almost, but I like this ombre-ish with this one as well that has the seagrass on the back of it. All right, what am I doing with this one? We are going to stick this down with the orange side up. I cut it at 1 1/4 inches. Hey, I actually wrote that one down. It must have been earlier in the day where I don't have to actually remeasure for you all. There we go. At least I'm noticing these things and letting you know. I think we're going to line this up so it lines up with the blue, if you will. So you can see, okay, there's a horizon line here with this blue here. And that's what I'm lining up with, this solid line that's running underneath our actual arches from our Sunshine Arch Border Maker cartridge. through our page. There we go. Okay, so it kind of is like our extra sunshines running along the page here a bit. And okay, flip these over so I can get some tape on them. This one is not as much embellishing as we did on that last one, so that's actually giving me a little bit of a break maybe here. I don't know about that. I still have to figure out where everything goes again. Anyways, this one we're just going to go on the right side here, not against the right side, but over about 1/4 of an inch. The dark blue is going towards the bottom here. About, again, 1/4 of an inch from here and about 1/2 inch from the bottom. No, it's going to have to go closer to the 1/4 inch to the bottom. Okay, it's a good thing I checked that one before I actually pressed it down, because we have these two. Yep, that one's going to be straight up against our border maker cartridge, and then this one's just going to come down from it, kind of lined up under it as well, but with that extra 1/4 of an inch in between. And then this one is along the right side here. Let me make sure I'm straight, not quite. There we go. So we have our 3 photo mats, and I also have on the beach and taking it all in for our stickers going on to this side of the page here. We're going to offset that just a little bit. And I'll show you what inspired me a little bit for this one as well. I'm just going to overlap these two a little bit, kind of at the corners, a little bit like we've done with some of our other mats along the way. But the left side of this page is now done. And you can easily add, again, from your index sheet, a journal box down here. But we got 3 photos on the side of the page. Or the other thing you can do, and this is something else, I'll tell you in a minute. Stay tuned. I want to get the right side done first, and then I'll tell you. Because it's something that looking at the sketch just kind of gave me an idea for it. And here are our 2 other mats, and I'll explain about those in just a moment. Here again, we have another one of our Sunshine Arches border maker cartridges, cut at the 1.25 inches. I'm going to line it up again with the horizon line at the top of where our arches were punched. And then I have one of our 4x6 mats, Wherever You Are, Be All There by Jim Elliott. Backside says the same thing, just in a reverse direction. And I have an 8" by 7" mat here, which has the seagrass on the back, but I did kind of fussy cut this one a little bit when I was cutting off the other mats, because it's just so pretty, and it just repeats our sunshines a little bit, and it gives us also some flexibility with how to put our photos on this page, but it also honors the sketch a little bit as well, because on our sketch we have a larger mat or a larger photo. No, they actually put in 2 smaller photos and a couple of smaller photos as well. So let me make sure this is going to fit. Let me scoot this over just a hair. It does need to go up against the side here because, again, I guess 8" by 7" and 4x6. So if we have 8 and 4, that's 12, which makes sense that they're either going to overlap or you need to allow them to be next to each other. This one's going to go directly underneath our border as well, like we did on the other side of the page. I have our sailboat embellishment, not a sticker, an embellishment. And this is going up here in this top right corner here. Just as if it's kind of going off into our sunset suns a little bit. And then I have another one of our seabirds and breathe in, breathe out. And this is going to go, our breathe in, breathe out is going to go under our bird. So I'm going to get this placed down first. Again, just the coloring and the saying just all seem to work together. So our bird is going to kind of hug our bees here a little bit. All right, here is the right side of this page. Hopefully y'all like that one as well. Let me show you this with the one on the other side next to it, and then I will talk to you a minute about this sketch and the other idea I had. So again, like I said, journaling here. Journaling can also happen up here. Just grab a little bit of your index sheet, or on our sketch, it has these little strips running across the top. And guess what we have now that they didn't have when they did the sketch? We have the write-on stickers. And I thought about pulling out some of mine, and then I wasn't sure. Oh, I do know where they are. I wasn't sure exactly where they were, but now I know where they are. I wonder if I should go ahead and put a couple on. What do y'all think? Should I add a couple? I don't know if I want to add them all the way up here in my other, but I think I might go ahead and put a couple here and a couple here. Let me grab those real quick. At least I think that's what these are. Yep, here we go. I think the price point on this is just so reasonable. I think they were $3 or something like that. American. I'm in the US. I'm in Washington State. But these are, what size? How are they? So one has the 1/4 inch strip and one has a 3/8 inch. So this is a 3/8. No, this is the 1/4. The 3/8 is bigger than a 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Can you tell I've been at this for a while? I think so. We're going to go ahead and add a couple of these here. For some journaling. That's actually going to work out nicely for this page. It just seems to work, doesn't it? There we go. And maybe a couple more on the bottom of this other side. Let me put this back up. Oof. And like I said, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just leave me a comment below. This one I'm going to have to cut in half. Okay, where is my, we'll do this. Because we said it's what, 6 inches, correct? Was that right? Yep. So we're going to stick it on the mat, and I'm just going to cut through it at 3 because the silicone mat, between the silicone mat and the microchip scissors, nothing's going to stick to either one of those. Makes it quick and easy to get the job done. So there's that. I'm going to do one more here. All right. I love that. I love that. Creative Memories gives us tools that make these things easy, even when you've been live streaming for a while. Wow, 3 hours now. And we can still get this done in a timely fashion. Oops, I didn't push down on that one. Now I need to get this next one down. And let's get this last one lined up down here. Okay. How's about that? There we go. Let me move my stuff out of the way again. You never know. Like I said, sometimes these things, I feel like I have it designed and then they speak to me at the last minute. And I'm adding write-on stickers 3 hours into the live stream. Okay, so what do y'all think? Do you like the write-on stickers? Do you not like the write-on stickers? Let me know. Hopefully, I think I don't know. I think it seems to work, but hopefully y'all think so too. Just gives you another option, and you don't have to cut the index sheet. You can just add your stickers. Like I said, just cut those in half You can put your ruler on the page and line it up a little bit better than I did with mine, but hey, you're not going to be live streaming at the time. So I think that's not too shabby for however long it took me to get those placed onto the page. There we go. All right, and look at this. This is our back page. It matched our front page. If you remember way back when, 1 o'clock. Yeah, it was 1 o'clock when I started this Pacific time. So 4 o'clock Eastern time, I guess. Yeah, has been 3 hours, hasn't it? And here comes in my last card of the day, page 38. And I've got a whole batch of stuff kind of stuck together up there. Looks like I've got some extra embellishing because, of course, we have it as a back page. Oh, yes, I remember this one now. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit punchy now. Apparently, doing this for 3 hours is maybe not something I'm going to be doing every month or every week or every year, but let's get the sketch so that way y'all can see what I'm giggling about a little bit here. What did I say? 38? That's 40. Here, it's where my last tab is. Yep. Okay. So here is page 38. Let me adjust lighting again so y'all can see the mat sizes and which this one is based on. And I'm giggling about this a little bit. This is actually a mitered frame on a small scale. So even up here, we can see where there's the line running through here. That's what I mean by mitering for the frame for this other piece here. And that's what we're going to do. I cut my pieces so that way we could do it. This is our end page of our album. And I did cut these at an angle using our 45-degree line on our trimmer. I have one more piece of vellum here, and that's what's going to go in the center. I need to assemble my frame first and then put my vellum on. So that's what I am going to do because I put some notes for myself, which is, something I try to do to make my life easier when I'm going to put these together on a live stream. Even for the virtual crop, I have notes for myself to make sure that I am following what I kind of have intended in my mind. So let me check out my photo, make sure I'm going to get this lined up where I think I want it lined up above this little C-swell here. So this one's going to go across our page at the bottom. And what size is this, Catherine? Let me look. This is a 1/2 inch by 10 inches. So these two pieces are both a 1/2 inch by 10 inches, and this piece is a 1/2 inch by 3 inches. So not the same as what they did on the sketch, because I always like to give you all other options. Always. I don't know. But most of the, every once in a while, I think maybe some of my measurements might match one of the sketches. I don't know. Somebody would have to mark that one down as a red banner day. But yeah, most of the time, my measurements are different than what's on the measurement listing for the sketch, which is why I usually try to let y'all know what I've done, because I do size it a little bit differently. I make different color choices, and I always try to use a different collection than what's on there, just to help give extra ideas and extra options. One thing I will mention, okay, this paper was the one that has kind of the borders running across it, and it's got this orange striped effect on the opposite side. And I will tell you, one of the things I did do was I fussy cut it. And I will show you here close up in just a second how I fussy cut it, because I think y'all know I'm funny with color, but I'm also kind of funny with some of the designs as well. And with this one, I wanted all of the lines to be running horizontally. So you can see here where when it comes together as the frame, all of my lines are running through this direction. And now we're going to add our vellum on top of our frame. We're going to center it here. This is a 2.5 inch by 9.5 inch piece of vellum. And it's the one that kind of has the water effect to it. I don't know if vellum really has a front side and a back side. It does sometimes seem that one side is darker than the other. So be aware when you cut and do your vellum that you're seeing which side you're actually working on. I do want to try to center this between the top and the bottom. You can see my right side is just a little bit. I'm actually going to pull this over just a hair so that way it matches the frame more. There we go. And it's okay that I've got this extra little blue here because I'd rather have it going over the frame here because I have a couple of things that are going to be inside of our little frame. All right. Let me burnish them. So I don't know if y'all can see. Whoops. Let me put before I burnish it this time, I just realized I forgot to show you all the before. I don't know if you can actually see the tape on there at all. So I can see it when I look at it, but maybe it's harder to see on camera. Where is it? Right here. So right by my thumbnail is a piece of tape. And then I'll show you it after I burnish it. So you can see it kind of runs that way. And I'll burnish it and show you guys afterwards what it looks like. Okay, so here is where it was. There's my thumb again. Here's the light blocker again, and here you go. So you can see where it really does help it to essentially disappear using that vellum tape runner. I just really wanted to show that again. I think I showed it in a short at one point in time, but I don't think I burnished it as much. I think I was using my finger at the time. And, you know, we always learn more as we go along. So let's see. I have two mats that are from our green wavy looking paper here. They have the yellow fish on the back side of them. I'm going to go ahead and get these down. These are both 4.5 by 6.5 inch mats. Because again, it's the back page of our layout. Let's do something that's a little bit more jazzy, I guess, if you will. I've got to make sure I have space for my top stuff here too. Hang on, I got a little extra piece of vellum. I've got this. Oh my goodness, I've got a lot of stuff going on here. This is going up against this. This is going to go here. This is going to go up here. I just was an extra little scrap that was a square. And so move this down a hair and over. Okay. So that looks reasonably even, I think. Nope. There's that and that. Okay. So my two mats are set. This piece is going to go up here. And then my border is going to go over my little platform for my vellum here. 1 inch by 3.5 inch scrap of the orange paper that I used to cut the frame as well. It's going to go right here, about 1/2 inch over from the edge of my mat here. And then this piece of vellum is, do I have it written down? Yes, 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Isn't that nice? I like it when I have it written down. It does make my life easier here. Okay. That's going to get centered right here over our orange. Kind of like what we did on our frame here. And now we have our darker, it's more of the darker gray blue side up versus the bright blue side of our embellishment, our laser cut embellishment here. That's going to go across the top. And here we go. And then we have a bird and a orange sea star also that are going to go up here. If I can get them off my table. And that's going to get popped up, I think, too. Let me find my other smaller foam squares. And I need to cut this one also, because that bird is really small. There we go. All right, so the sea star is going to go here. And my bird is going to go right up here with my sea star. Oops, if I can get it picked up again. Goodness, this bird is giving me a hard time here at the end. Goodness. So this one's going up this way, right by our sea star. And then I also have a sticker, nature is the greatest place to heal and recharge. This is going down on the bottom here on our vellum. And then we also have another one of these darker boxes with the arch in it. We're going to add a couple things. Well, we're going to add our ship to our arch here. I wonder if I should cover up that end. I think I am. So I'm just going to bring this over here where I had that little gap in my vellum and cover that up here. There we go. And my little ship is going to go onto the frame, and I'm actually going to pop that one up too. So that's going on a foam square. Because remember, this is our end page of our album. And we're also going to have a couple of seashells over here at the corner of this photo. And I want to layer these two on top of each other. So I just stuck the one over towards the end of the other one, and it's just the two smaller ones that look like there could be a snail in it. And again, we're going to go ahead and pop this up as well too. I'm going to use the other half of the one I used on the bird, as well as a full small foam square. And that's going to go right down here, just kind of off the edge of this one. Okay, whew. It felt like a lot. I guess it was. It's a whole album. We're done. Can you believe it? I'm going to do a flip through. Let me bring this closer first so y'all can see as well. But first, let me pull down our sketch again for our end page. And you can see basically this is the part that inspired me for this arch and this whole section here. And then also I did the frame, and then I did their two photos. They have, 2 3x4s, but you can easily put two smaller photos on here if you want. I like the big photos. So that's what I have done. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. We made it to the end here. And I'm going to move this and do a quick flip through from start to finish for you all so you can see all of the pages in order of my album here. Woo! Okay, let's see if I can get them lined up a little bit better. It's just they've all been hanging out on the side here. So this was my page that showed all the pages in my album. And here we go. Oh, I'm a little bit stuck. Hang on. I'm sorry about that. Here we go. myself on the camera a little better for you all. Using up our scraps from my layout here. And then the rest of these are from our sketch challenge book. Various pages, some of them used twice. Let me know if you all have a favorite or which ones are your favorites. I would love to hear. I definitely did try to mix up the variety in the color and the pieces I used throughout the album. I did finish up all my mats, so I had to cut quite a few mats, and then I also got a little creative with some of our mats. But this definitely was one of my favorite collections at the time. It seems like each year Creative Memories keeps coming out with more beautiful collections in different ways to work with and come up with different designs. All right. Let me flip things over one more time so y'all can see me in the aftermath here a little bit, I guess. If any of you are interested in any of my social media, I do have a website. It's thecreativePagesHub.com. I would love to be your Creative Memories advisor if you don't already have one. And, I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me this afternoon, seeing what I did to put together this Serene Waters Fast Fab Pages for an album. Maybe I gave you a few ideas for something different along the way as well. Don't forget to let me know which one was your favorite in the comments below, or hit the thumbs up. YouTube loves interaction with our channels, so it definitely helps my analytics as well. So thank you for sticking with me this long, and I will say until next time.